if we are going to pay off that 859,000, I'm sorry, 859.49.
What is 859?
We have enough money, right?
We have plenty money.
But wait, because we got to be careful here. Okay, for one is that we did send the 658 from fiscal year 19. Okay, that's the unexpended monies, and then you guys are going to do a resolution today to transfer that money to a trust account now,
Right.
with legal counsel, right, to make the payment. And so what she's trying to do that, yes, even though we may have like 800 some in terms of prior year obligations, Jackie, of course, is negotiating that amount done, not to pay up to that 800 some. So what Badette is saying, yes, we have the money, we could very well pay for it, but because she's negotiating that, she's getting a better deal, so to speak.
We saw it too. So
Right?
Because we're looking at $658,256
Yes.
to pay off the
To settle.
the resolution.
Yes.
Roofs and floors, right?
Yes.
So that's the total amount to pay them off.
Yes.
So if you're saying that the projected unexpended balance of fiscal year 2021,
Okay,
we
everyone.
would be able to pay, right?
Yes.
You're anticipating that $800,000 would be the unexpended balance at the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. So
Yes.
would we have enough money to pay off this?
I just need you to date it.
600 and
This one's just.
no, excuse me.
Go ahead and take it.
Yes. Yes.
The two names that appeared on the
Miss Lou. Miss Lou.
Are you reading live stream?
cruise and 658,000.
It's 250.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, the 658 that the board resolution is a separate thing from the FY21 unexpended balance of 800. There are two separate.
Right. So
Okay.
yeah. So what I'm saying is that your projected unexpended balance at the end of fiscal year 2021, which would be in just a few days, September 30th, you're projecting the amount of 800,000, correct, Badette?
Correct.
And that's the way I'm
Correct.
hearing you out.
Yes, you are
Yes.
correct, yes.
Okay.
So the resolution, so we can say safely that we have enough money to authorize this resolution of 658,256, correct?
Are you recording?
Yes, we have the money.
Oh,
We
no,
have
you-
that
you-
separate
we'll just pull it from
separately
Yeah.
All
from
right,
the
that's
800.
all that I'm asking.
Okay,
I'm just
but I get what we're trying to say here is be really cautious in terms of what it is that we're going to reveal, because this is going to, live streaming. So
The live stream
I'm
records this
just
whole
saying
thing.
that's why our legal counsel is here to make sure that we don't
she controls
jeopardize
that.
any of our,
I don't have.
But I
you know,
that's why
notification.
Oh, you made
So
me
we would
host.
still
Okay.
have enough money to pay that
Okay, got it.
859.49
Recording
I
in
didn't.
progress.
That's why I wanted to.
peace partnership
Is the other
fund
side?
with the amount
You sure? Sorry.
Yeah, well,
fund,
yeah,
right?
So that you can
yeah. Okay, Mike, can you hold on for a minute until everybody gets on? Mike, where are you? I know you're, but don't record yet until everybody's on. Okay, Mike, until
Recording
the
stopped.
meeting is called. Okay, thank you, Mike.
But it still can be pulled out because you're on live stream, so everyone.
We're live
watching-
stream now?
Yes. everyone.
Okay, guys, so we are on live stream as well, so therefore none of these side comments should be going on until we call the meeting to order. Okay?
Thank you very much. I thought it was in the middle of the meeting.
Huh?
I am so sorry. I thought I came in late and it was in the middle.
No,
When
you didn't.
budget.
No, she, just Miss Lee was just
Just wanna
asking
hit
some
record and I can
questions.
just leave it.
Yeah.
So the app that I have. No, I'm not.
Can you hear already?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you come back?
I don't know. I just came up, but yes, the 800,000.
I can cut out that part later on after the session.
But whoever is already.
Whoever was present on that time would hear it.
How many viewers?
I cannot on my end because it's gonna zoom out of
He's our
the.
employee now?
And an hour late.
Oh, I know.
And the
Welcome back.
So I cannot manipulate this. I have to keep it like this because this is the live stream.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
It's okay. We got your Trustee Arqueza is here. Trustee Havelock?
Just let me know when to start recording.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Okay, I just want to let you all know is that we are already or have been live streaming.
Okay.
And of course, I just ask everyone is that, to, I guess, kind of hold whatever conversations or comments until such time that we convene the meeting until you
It's kind of
are on
hard
board.
to like.
Actually,
There's so many stuff to be cut out.
just a minute. I'm having a little bit of.
There's so much stuff to be cut out if we have so many. Like they asked me to like, oh, can you cut out this part? Can you cut out this part?
That's
Yeah.
why I want you to be here
Yeah.
because I have to
Yeah.
tell them. That's the main purpose of the law.
Yeah.
You cannot cut out anything because it's live stream.
Oh, so I cannot cut out as
No,
soon as it starts.
don't.
Okay, so don't cut out it.
We're not in compliance with the law.
So we're waiting for Mr. Oh no, we got there
That's
two
why you have to
men
stick to the
here.
agenda. Don't make
Madam Faye, I
you heard
think
the
that
first conversation.
all
You're
the
not
board
on your
members
back.
are
You're already
here.
Are we already on it?
Yes. So
Give me a few minutes.
Here, just start it when I'm ready. You're only eating lunch now, Miss Penny?
Okay? Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
I'll start recording for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrice. Okay.
Recording
good
in
afternoon,
progress.
everyone. Meeting is now being recorded. Today is the 21st of September. I'm calling to order the regular board meeting of the Guahan Academy Charter School Board of Trustees. Call to order at 2:06. Roll call, please. Trustee Havelock,
I'm here. Thank you.
Trustee Rosie,
No, I have to go. You just have to.
Trustee Rosie,
I'm sorry, President, Madam
Rosie,
Chair.
we're checking attendance. Thank you. Trustee Arqueza,
Finish what you're doing first.
Here.
Trustee Lou, present. Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a quorum. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes of July 2021? May I hear a motion to accept the regular board meeting of July 2021?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I need a second.
I second.
Any discussion? Discussion board? Vote on the approval of the minutes of July 2021.
I'll second.
Trustee Havelock, aye. Thank you. Trustee Arqueza,
Aye.
Trustee Rosie,
Aye.
Trustee Lou?
Yes.
Thank you. Unanimously approved. the regular board meeting minutes of July 2021. Calendar, online, CEO. Is this for the CEO to discuss the online class schedule? Go ahead, CEO, take it away.
Well, this is to inform you that after several meetings with the leadership team and the faculty and staff, and because of the new conditions set by the governor in the executive order, that we've decided to continue with the virtual online learning and hard copies until we submit our plan to the Department of Public Health and
This is the streaming platform. This is the main computer where we
the
stream
testing
it publicly.
of a
cannot-
random sampling of 10% of our
I
students
cannot move stuff
and
around because
also bus
whatever I do
transportation.
here, they'll see, it's
And
gonna see it.
until
So,
then, we would then,
basically,
and then the other, of course,
I cannot show
surveying
you the
our
app, but the
parents to
app is
make
right
sure
here.
that this
This
is
is the app.
something
I'll
they
show you
want
tomorrow
to
on
give
how it
us
works. To get
permission
it going,
for. We
yeah.
will then
Yeah, the
continue
OBS, just the regular OBS.
with the status quo.
CEO, can you let us know the start date for both online and face-to-face classes with GAG?
Oh, we've actually been doing that since the first executive order
use
that
OBS to
basically
stream.
asked us
Yeah, use
to
OBS to stream.
close our schools and
That's
to
the
go
main definition
online
thing I can
or
find, so.
that
But
was,
right now, if you go
Ms.
on
AJ, do you have that
you go on YouTube,
specific
it's live
date
stream,
when
so.
we went online? We've been online already for about, I think, 3 weeks,
Okay.
Since September 7th, right after the Labor Day holiday.
okay, September 7th.
But there is no class interruption at all, both online and face-to-face, right, CEO?
No, not at all, because as soon as we closed down, we immediately had our teachers trained, the parents trained, students trained. We issued out devices and whatever MiFis were available, and then started, of course, the classes.
All the devices are issued already?
Devices are the DOE, rather IT&E ran out of MiFi, so we're waiting. So all of the letters that we gave are currently all on a waiting list.
Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you, CEO Dinabala. Let me just go proceed with the legal counsel, just to get a little bit more explanation. The legal counsel ready online?
Yes, Madam Chair, I am here.
Hi, good afternoon, Attorney Terlahi. A little
Good
bit
afternoon.
more of a briefing on the latest mandate on board meeting. We appreciate your assistance and your clarification. Go ahead, counsel. You have the floor.
So, as everyone is now aware, as of July 1st of this year, all public agencies, boards, commissions are mandated to put online by video streaming their regular meetings. Also, work sessions are required. There are certain exemptions that are permitted. One of those exemptions is a discussion of ongoing litigation, where that ongoing litigation complies with the specific provisions of the Act. Personnel matters are also considered closed to public purview because of the confidentiality and the personal issues typically related. These types of things. Also, meetings with your management team to discuss issues involving the school can be exempt under certain conditions. And I would just encourage that should you have any concern about a specific type of meeting, that you should notify me and I can tell you whether or not and what provision of our Open Government Act would exempt or not exempt that type of discussion. The Open Government Act was not intended to interfere with your operations, but it simply was intended to allow open and public participation in the process. So in terms of our Open Government Act compliance, we have continued to comply with the Open Government Act because the Open Government Act is made applicable to charter schools. Now, this new amendment does not specifically include charter schools, but in a spirit of good faith and understanding of public agency boards and commissions, we have complied with that Open Government Act passage. I would just remind my board that when it comes to ongoing litigation, because ongoing litigation is an issue that we are facing for our particular entity, that we need to just simply make sure that if you've got a specific question or are seeking my legal advice, that you may ask a question in this forum, but I will not answer in this forum. Okay, so for example, you say, Jackie, we need your legal opinion about whether or not we're permitted to hold a work session related to the termination of employee ABC, Joe Cruz. Let's say use Joe Cruz because Joe Cruz is very common, right? Would like to discuss the legal options that we have on the termination of Joe Cruz. Well, first I would tell you, don't ask me with a name in this open forum, that in order to protect the employee's rights, you simply would say, we have an employee that we need to discuss and would like your legal opinion. Can you please contact admin to address that legal opinion? And then we would ensure that we are conforming to the open. I think our school has been very good about trying to maintain our Open Government Act compliance. One of the things that was very easy for GAPS to do was to continue to post our agenda. Since we've already been doing that in our Facebook page or our internet page of some sort, you've been able to comply, because that's a new requirement that many of the government agencies are struggling with, is ensuring the publication of their agendas. So anything that is not covered in the agenda, if it's not public comments, if it's something specific that wasn't posted in the agenda, generally speaking, it should be held to your next publicly noticed meeting. Okay? So those are some guidelines.
Work sessions, council, work sessions, as I read it on one of the releases of the newspaper, is supposed to be posted also the same way as the regular sessions are. So I've seen some work session posted with the requirement of 5 days notification as well, inclusive of the agenda. So I just want to confirm if that is really in part of the things that we need to clarify under this new mandate on streamlining, or rather on live streaming public meetings. We are now a component unit of the government, and I think that also even dictates more so that we have to follow the new mandate on live streaming all our meetings. I just want clarification, council, on the on meetings that are done, on work session meetings. I read it on one article. I haven't really seen the revision or the amendment on the open government law, but I've seen one of the newspaper release, Senator, I believe Senator Chalai or Senator Lai, one of the senators on the Republic side, saying that included, I think it was, what's her name? Senator, the author of the law. She was saying that inclusive of expected, of work sessions.
Well, and that is a good question, because executive session versus a work session, right?
Work session only. Work session only.
Yes, so a work session that basically is an issue that is not specifically exempt by the Open Government Act is required to be via live stream. And so every time that the board gathers to have a work session or to make decisions, it appears from this new provision of the Open Government Act that you are required to live stream as well. I will look specifically at that issue on kind of what other exceptions there may exist. I mean, for example, the work session where there's a couple of board members, it's not the full board, it's a committee meeting of sorts, you're not making any decisions, you're not voting on anything. It's simply kind of making sure that people get information. If that's what you mean by a work session, then it's possible that could be exempt, but I'd have to look at the specifics of the modification in order to make sure that I'm not sending you astray, okay? But generally speaking, as I said, the intention of the Open Government Act is not to hinder your meetings, but is simply to make it a public setting. And so the question is, to what extent is a meeting for purposes of the Open Government Act? And it says, you know, if you're going to schedule a meeting with your board, then generally speaking, that is subject to the Open Government Act. And then we'd have to look at what exceptions there might be that excludes the topics that you're covering under the Open Government Act, okay? That's a little bit more of a detailed analysis. I mean, if the board would like me to put together an overview of the type of exceptions that are permitted by the law and some examples, so you can make a determination. Perhaps I can put a chart together for you so that you have maybe a 1 or 2 pager that tells you this is the kind of meeting that must be public, this is the kind of meeting that you're allowed to be private. Perhaps that would be helpful to the board.
Ms. Lou has a question. You have to unmute, Lou, unmute. Lou, unmute.
Sorry, executive sessions are exempted. I think when it comes to personal issues and anything on litigation, so that just on the
I cannot move this around.
here and on those. So we can do executive sessions covering personal issues and everything that doesn't need to be discussed publicly. Maybe we
So
can
whatever
also
you
get
see
some
here is
guidance
online.
on that, Tony Telai. Truly appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, executive sessions are very particular. Public health, safety, welfare, termination, appointment, and the all-time prohibited no discussion of salaries
Yes.
or approval of salaries in closed sessions.
Thank
So
you.
I could put together kind of a basics for you if the board is requesting that.
Thank you, Council. Truly appreciate that. Trustees, CEO, any more for Dean Avila? Anything more for the legal counsel? Trustee Lou, you have
Yes,
the floor.
Trustee Lou has a question.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You're on mute right
You
now.
have to unmute. Lou, unmute. Unmute.
Click your phone and unmute your phone. Where are you? Can I unmute you?
Already, okay.
Oh, thank you. You did.
So, Attorney Terlahi, that leads me to a question. It's not really a work session of the board, but a committee meeting of 2 people. Let's say, for example, they're working on a policy, like, let's say, revising maybe or creating a new policy. The National Association of State Board of Education encourages that it just be published, that it just be posted, that 2 members of the board are meeting to discuss a board policy. So it's not the board as a whole, it's just like 2 or 3 members of the board working on a particular project.
Yeah, and Ms. Liu, this is one of the difficulties with Guam's Open Government Act. It says a chance meeting is not a meeting that is covered by the Open Government Act. Let's say, for example, 2 of the committee members are at the school, and you didn't plan to be at the school that day, but you said, hey, since we're here, why don't we take a look at that policy we were developing, right? Here's the different jurisdictions that we're considering. Well, that's a chance meeting, right? So, but a planned meeting, let's meet at the school on September 28th and we can discuss the policy, right? So that we can look at the different options. Well, that is no longer a chance meeting. That is a planned meeting. And under the Open Government Act's provisions, there is no exception to that. So we would still have to have some kind of notification on our website, the posting of the agenda, and the live streaming. So, this kind of responsibility is quite onerous because it comes down to even the smallest meeting between the trustees, which leads you kind of to the conclusion that maybe the trustees shouldn't be handling these types of matters anymore. Perhaps you should have your employees addressing the different jurisdictions, and then you have a meeting of the board to be notified and have an employee explain what options are available to the board. I hope you see the distinction and the importance of that distinction. I mean, many boards don't do all the work themselves. That's just a reality, right? So the boards sit kind of in policy, and they're told what is available, what is not. They're given option A, option B as the best choices. And then the board in a public meeting votes on the A or B and asks any questions about A or B. So it takes away some of the work for the board to do, but also at the same time, it takes away kind of the necessity to have open meetings, public meetings in relation to the development of the policy. So this is where perhaps our board needs to start considering shifting development of policy, development of education of our board to its staff. And then the staff's responsibility is to educate the board. The board's job is not to develop it themselves. I hope that helps a little. And that may also help our board in terms of the focus of the work that all of you do. That, one board member as the committee member works with the staff rather than having several board members working together without staff. Do you see my kind of distinction between the types of groups? So it is not a board meeting when there is one trustee with 3 employees of GATS. That's not subject to the Open Government Act because that's kind of a ministerial administrative duty that's being conducted. It is only when the board is meeting to make decisions about what policy is going to be put into place or to discuss the different policies available to it. That's what's required to be open under the Open Government Act. So perhaps that's something you should discuss as a board, is whether or not you now need to start acting kind of with the knowledge that you don't want to be having to live stream every time you do anything. That becomes very difficult and also very expensive. I don't know our tech support people. I don't even know the first name of your tech support, but I kind of have some compassion for them in the sense of they're monitoring all of our Wi-Fi, our laptop, providing the live streaming for us, addressing all the networking issues at the school. You see, we're expanding the job responsibilities of our tech support people unintentionally. So that's something I think the board needs to consider in terms of thinking about your policy and your committee makeup. That perhaps this is the time that we should now start looking at our committees and truly sticking to the one trustee over each committee, as opposed to several trustees, which creates the problem of the Open Government Act.
Any question? Yeah, it's a good thought and it's a good information because we just started talking to GTA about amping up the security, the technology of the school in terms of like the security aspect, like i.e. firewall, etc., etc. But those are the things that we have to amplify with or talk with the committee, a board, and to a certain somebody at the company, at the school, just to make sure they, those are things that there's new to GACS right now on exploring cybersecurity, etc. But topics that not even on this conversation. But any more questions with the council trustees, CEO, Dean Avila? Are we frozen in time? Any
No,
more questions?
No,
Gail?
no, none on our side, so.
Trustee Avila?
No.
I mean, Trustee Avila, Dean Avila, Trustee Lou, Trustee Rosie? I do not see Trustee Urquiza. Did he fall asleep? Who are you? Where's Trustee Urquiza? Trustee Urquiza, are you present? Where are you?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Any question with the council? Trustee Rosie, Trustee Urquiza?
No question, Madam Chair.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you, council. We're going on to the next agenda. CEO, can I have you back on the floor?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the first request is about our Nifty membership, and we have sent emails out to Brian already, and we gave him basically some of the things that we were looking into, membership, of course, the different types of services and what the cost will be for a Nifty DI training for faculty and staff, the management, of course, of the Nifty or the DI program, whatever supplementary materials that they may have, hard copies or any webinars. And then he asked that in order to make that decision, if we can send him some data, and we did. So we sent him the information that he was requesting for in terms of grades, teachers, teacher assistants, number of students, and specific programs that already were teaching in every grade level. So we still, as of this morning, because we checked again, and he hasn't come back to us. And that's on the Nifty. The second is the Munis training update, and the staff have been trained. And what we did with our new employee, Jamie, I'm sure you can see Jamie Gomez. Raise your hand, Jamie. She's new. She's on board for her second day, and she was already trained yesterday to be able to go into Munis, and she actually did her first inputting and did very well. I also had sent an email today to Stephanie, Ike, and Shannon, telling them that, on behalf of the board, that we wanted them to go ahead and train Jamie officially by the federal programs of GDOE. But everyone so far are trained. The update in which you would like to know in terms of where, what are the funding, the total funding source for each one of these programs. The most recent federal programs, ESF 1, is $761,443, and that should end the end of September in a couple of days. ESF 2, the total amount is $2,075,882,000, and the ARP is $4,585,762. So we have not started to draw down yet from ESF 2 and ARP until such time that they close out ESF 1. Any questions on those before I move on?
Trustees, any question on the ESF and the ARP reporting by the CL? Trustee Lou, Trustee Rosie, Trustee Avila?
Yes.
Any question on the ESF and the ARP report and the Munis training and the Nifty membership report by the CEO? No question? Yes, question? Trustee
Okay,
Rose,
so-
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Trustee Rosie. Trustee Rosie. What happened to Trustee Urquiza?
What?
He's here.
Oh, he's there? Okay, I couldn't see him on the.
I know that.
Go ahead, Trustee Rose. Trustee Rosie, go ahead.
Go ahead, co-chair.
Madam Faye, I know we still have a lot of money on the ARP on the ARP funds, it's like that we need to exhaust that money because this money is anything, we can use this money for anything to prepare us to open our schools.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And there are some, of course, in which we were told that we couldn't do, but we can substitute once ready. We have listed or increase, what we had originally ordered. So ARP, we are using primarily for a lot of materials, instructional materials for almost every subject area. The monies also from ARP will go into the extended after school program because we need to be able to address any loss of instruction from the time when we were shut down. And we're also building a mini library in every classroom. And we're also providing what we call giveaway books to every child. Depending on the age level, whether they're going to get a book a week or a book every other week or a book a month for the larger kids, the bigger kids and older kids, by giving them novels. So that will determine when they'll be getting their books. So we are using the ARP for a lot of instructional issues, to address. Okay, aside from, other things like, for example, requesting for additional canopies, as well as requesting for air purifiers for the classrooms, tables, furniture, chillers, warmers, and just about everything that we can use in the school to open.
So there, Theo, there are schedules of all of this.
So when is that?
One
Right.
second.
We have schedules of all these requisitions on file, received and not.
I have a
and-
question.
Go ahead,
Chair.
Pastor Kisa, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Can you provide, Dr. J, can you provide a timeline of all the, the deadline that we have to spend for all these federal funds? Can you provide the board of that?
Okay, well, right, yes.
So we don't want to be,
Yes.
we don't want to be point blank,
I understand,
That's
you're
all-
right,
that's
where
my
you're coming from. You're right. So for ESF, the
Yeah.
only deadline that we know
Because-
for sure is September the 30th. And Shannon has basically
yeah.
informed
But how
us.
about the others? We just want to be planning ahead.
You're right. So what they have
Yeah,
asked us
because-
to do is to
Trust
end
me.
ESF 1 first before we start on ESF 2.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
Trustee Tanatongo mentioned that we have a lot of funds. That's why. That's the hint.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank
Okay,
you.
so no, and I totally agree with you. So what we'll do then is we'll contact the federal programs to ask them to give us what their timeline is, because like, for example, ARP is like for
Okay.
2 years, but ESF, they told us to start ESF when we have completed ESF 1.
Okay.
But I will
Thank
get
you.
that for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, and Dean Avila is involved in all of these things, just so she knows also requisition side, requisition part of what these monies could do to the operation of, hopefully from K to high school. You have to make sure you have also your checklist on what needs to be requisitioned by the CL for the ESF and ARP money, meaning funding that's available for us. And the deadline is very important. Thank you, Trustee Al. So we don't miss any deadline in submitting our requisition and obtaining all the materials that we need to get out of those federal monies. Would I be able to do the NIFTY money on ARP?
That's a good, but see, if it's not put in whatever we have turned in, then that's considered like a new item, and it may not. We just have to request to substitute it maybe with something that they have rejected. That's definitely something we can do.
Because NIFTY has some remedial portion. I think it's one of the fourth module that we can look into. And if you're talking like losses in learning, I think NIFTY has some materials to that effect. Um, I gave you all the 4 modules that they have from different grade, and one of the I think the fourth one was almost like a remedial class for to be training wise, resource wise, etc. I was just hoping we can put that on the ARP money if it's not too late.
Yeah, but we'll definitely, try. The only thing that we can't do is, and Rosie has been helping us with it, is employees and then and even travel. And one of the things that we were requesting at the time is whether they can also come out to train.
They have a lot of coaching seminars now.
Yes, right. And then
They
that's why
realize
we
that
asked.
this is COVID and travel is
Yes.
a little bit prohibitive. So they
You're
have
right.
a lot of coaching sessions now on different levels. So let's make sure that is looked into, and hopefully we can get this incorporated in our ARP request. Okay, are we
And
done,
that's-
CEO? Looking at timelines for
well,
various
there's only, okay, well, 2 things only.
we're dying.
We have it in law. We've increased our enrollment up to 765. We are getting 6,200 per child. We are getting carryover of, unexpended funds from different fiscal years, 19, 20, and 21. And the last thing that was on there continuously would be library materials also that, we are also have access. The last one is the building E occupancy permit. I had sent you an email, but also I wanted just to let you know real quickly is that when they came, they were supposed to only inspect building E because that was the only building in question. However, they kind of really quickly go through E, but they actually decided to visit C and D. And so now they're requesting that whatever we did at E building in terms of their stairwells, having the guardrails there, the handrails, that now we do it for C and D. And then, of course, the others are real basic of fire extinguishers to make sure that they are certified, recharged, and mounted onto the wall. And and they gave us the specifications for that. Exit signs that we need to replace and install. The strobe lights are all out, but now they don't want it where they are currently located. We now need to put it in the front of the post of our building. So you see a post here, but then the strobe lights are here. So now they want us to move it from here to here. So we're now going to have to be working with again, Pacific to give us a price quote for that. Then they looked at the external ladder that's in all of the buildings that would take you up to the roof, and what we decided to do was to cover it. That was our instruction. So now we must do that for C and D. And electrical panels need to be labeled. So C, D, and E buildings, their fire alarm system were tested and improved, but however, because of all these other items that they have cited us for, E, and that means we will continue with our fire watch. The good thing about that too is that because we are not in school, then we don't need to do a fire watch every hour on the hour. I'm sorry, I went through that pretty fast. But I also emailed it to all of you so you can, review it in more detail.
I think we can consult also with our landlord just to see whether some work can be done by them. Maybe we can go ahead and forward all those findings by Bonfire, because it looks like some of the work can be done by them rather than by us as tenants, right?
Yes,
So
like for example, the fire, you are correct. The provision for the fire extinguishers has been done by our landlord. So we are definitely communicating with them. We actually called again, but are unable to reach Richard, and we're still
I'll give
reaching
you
out
an
to him.
email where they could answer you back, okay? We'll give you an email address where they could answer us back, okay?
Okay,
Tracy,
sounds good.
okay, any more question? I think the last item are the annual report and accreditation timeline. I know that Dr. Lu is a little bit concerned about this. I am on the annual report that is mandated by the charter law. Any more timelines that we have to follow? I know the annual report is due by the end of September and accreditation is ongoing, right? Go ahead, CEO.
The annual report is due 30 days after the beginning of the fiscal year, so it's actually October 30th, but we're not going to wait until that date. But we do have to wait for the September 30th date so that we be able to get accurate numbers and figures of our demographics. And then when we get that, then the rest of it should be fairly easy. That and then because we didn't go through an assessment evaluation like we normally do annually, and that's one of the requirements. We do have only the fourth quarter, so that is a smaller, shorter version for us to be able to put all that information in, and then the rest will just be a repeat of other information that we normally put in our annual report. The centric report that we normally do, that would have to wait until the audit is done for us to do again and to pick up on the following year for the centric report. As far as the accreditation is concerned, there is no reporting of anything quarterly, semesterly, or annually. What it is that when they gave us a report and they gave us the ranking of where we stood for every standard, the different committees, the domain the leadership domain, the resource domain, and the learning domain, all have chairs and vice chairs and teachers. Everyone, teachers and staff, are assigned to every one of the domains, and they have been addressing all the standards about what it is that we need to do to improve on those standards. So I've asked that if the leaders can send to me an update of where they're at, then I'll be able to update you as well.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, no reporting to COTNIA in terms of turning a report. The nice thing about COTNIA is because we go online and we can continue to put information online, and they'll be able to see it. So if we do surveys and we put it in there, it will do the calculation for us as well. So, and we can get a real time, calculations and information that we're going to need. I'm sorry, Miss Lou. Yes, you're gonna have to unmute.
Dr. Lu, unmute, please.
Lou, can you unmute?
Okay. That's good to hear, Dr. Wampat. We want to assure our learning community and this particular board that our goal is always to maintain and retain the maximum year of term of accreditation. And so with that in mind, we as the board would like to receive the progress report at the end of first semester and at the end of second semester, all the way until it leads to the midterm visit. If you have a midterm visit, do you have a midterm visit coming up in 3 years?
No, we don't.
Okay.
I know that they said because of COVID that they do want to try to make it out here, but so far we have not heard anything. And I just want to clarify to make sure then. So you would like for me to give you a progress report where we're at with all the 3 domains at the end of each semester. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then after we receive the report, we really would like to have a work session with the chairs of the different domains so that we have this understanding and communication with each other on where we are. Because if we don't address it now, we can't wait until the 5th year or the 4th year to start addressing. So we want to be sure that we are on track in addressing those recommendations.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that the CEO submits to the Board of Trustees a progress report on the accreditation status at the end of each semester of each school year.
There's a motion on the floor, trustees, for the CEO.
I second that.
I need a second.
I second that, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Trustee Rosie. Any discussion, trustees? Trustee Urquiza, Trustee Avila? Any further discussion on the motion?
Seconded. Unmute.
May I add
And
something
let's
before
vote.
you vote?
Yeah, go ahead, CEO.
I was thinking the same thing she said is that, you know, if you can amend your motion to not only give you a progress report, but to also then to include and schedule work sessions on.
Well, we don't know, the end of each semester, I can do timelines, like the end, after 1 week after the end of each semester. And then following that, we would have probably a week's time to read the report before we get into the work session and interact with the chairs of the different domains.
Okay, fine, okay.
So is there a, does the motion needs to be,
No need again.
we're vote,
No
we're good.
need, no need, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
We need to vote, trustees, let's vote on the motion for the CEO to.
I vote.
Okay, Trustee Urquiza, yay. Trustee Avila?
Yes.
Yes. Trustee Urquiza? Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Rosie?
Yes.
The ayes have it, thank you. Okay, as we are already on this discussion on the timeline, let me remind the Board of Trustees, the CEO and Dean Avila, that I'm doing right now a budget call for all the department and divisions. Actually, we don't have much, but want to make sure that all your input is given to the CEO when it comes to the preparation of budget 2023. Budget 2023 should be due around about October. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trustee Urquiza. It's going to go to the council. A board resolution has to be prepared. Together with that will be the approved organizational chart and the approved budget narrative and categories and object categories to be submitted to the council.
Yes.
With the board resolution then to the legislature from the council. So I want to be able to
Yes.
start and call on a budget call right now, so the CEO can start putting all her wish list, which is not much, for your 2023 budget, maybe on the same category, but let's have an early preparation. We don't want to go on that 11 hour on our budget preparation.
Yes.
We just received the budget law that was just recently given to us that gave us 200 per pupil and 765, correct me if I'm wrong, on the total student. So still, I think the budget that we will have to work on moving forward, since we still have the same facility, will be on the same 765 and 6200. CEO, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to have more money per pupil, you let me know and work with Ms. Badet on the different budget scenario and present it please to the Board of Trustees.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, got it.
Okay, I really have to get this ready. I don't want to be rushed, only because although it's the same budget category that we have, it's the timeline that I'm a little worried about. They were not the only agencies in Guahan that they need to review the budget on. That's why by the time you get your approval of your budget, it's already towards the end of any fiscal year. So let's prepare early. Let's get a resolution out, get it all done, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay. That will be the other item that I will have under the CEO is the budget call for 2023. If you guys might want to write it back on your, might want to note that on your agenda. Finance Chair,
Go ahead, sir. You have the floor. Finance Chair, Trustee Havelock, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I continue on the discussion on budget. Yeah, it's already set up according to Public Law 36-54, which authorizes us from the one before, but it's now 765. If you multiply that to $6,200, then I think I came up with my calculation of 4.7 crores. So thank you very much for setting up the tone to move on with our budget.
Thank you. And we ask your assistance in preparation of our budget 2023, just to make sure that we are within what we have. I don't know if we can still increase our student population, but we are already maxed out. As a matter of fact, the CEO is already scratching her head to find the extra room for whatever she wants to do in our school. But yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're up 4.743 is what we're going to be working on for a budget 2022, 23.
4.7.
This is all the money that we can spend, no more nor less. Right, Mr. Chair?
That's right.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, guys.
There are
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, there are two proposed resolutions. I think you might have been given copies of those. Number one is the transfer of the funds. I think we touched base on this earlier for, I think that's CAX 09-2021-254. If I'm not, wait, let me check which one.
245.
Yes.
Move to approve the board resolution and transferring client trust to the client trust fund. I don't have the amount, but I think the board resolution is done. Can we get
658.
Can we get a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, the actual amount is $658,256.
Okay.
I so move.
Motion is on the floor, was seconded by Trustee
I so move.
Lucy. Any discussion, trustees?
I move to approve the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. No more discussion, right? Vote, please.
Aye.
Thank you, Trustee Lu. Trustee Rose, thank you. Trustee Lu.
Aye.
And Trustee Arquez, Trustee Havelock, thank you. Okay, with this one, since you guys said aye on this board resolution to transfer the funds, client trust funds, can I get you guys to have your original signature with Ms. Badette, one at a time as you please? But we need to get this out as soon as we can. I'm looking at probably by tomorrow, the earliest. Yes. Make appointment if you don't want to see each other's for social distancing sake. Make an arrangement to see Ms. Badette and get your original signature on this board resolution. Trustee Havelock, there's one more resolution on
Yes,
the closing of accounts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The second resolution pertains to the closing of two dormant accounts at Bank of Guahan. Both of them are checking accounts. We want to close those two accounts at Bank of Guahan.
Resolution to close all those dormant accounts. Do I need a motion to pass this resolution to close all dormant accounts? I need a motion.
Resolution number
make the
is
motion.
2021-1.
Okay, moved and seconded. Let's vote. You want a discussion?
Aye.
Trustee Al? Okay, thank you. We're done. Trustee Lu?
Yes. Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Ayes have it. Okay, Finance Chair, we're done. Audit Chair, status of current audit. Go ahead, sir.
Right now, we're on schedule for the single audit FY 19 and 20. There's no serious ramifications, which is good news. With the help of Mrs. B, everything, all the adjusting entries, all the accrued requests, as what the auditors stated, were all complied. So, Madam Chair, there's no serious issues. It's ongoing, and this draft will be issued sometime this week, and the final will be
Wow,
next
that's
month.
fast. Very fast. Thank you.
Yeah.
Draft for
So
20
we're looking good.
2020? Wow, yeah, I'm with
Yes.
you.
So we're looking good. We're working hand in hand with Miss B, and I'm speechless. We're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good work.
So you watch
Good
the money
work.
like a hawk. Thank you, Trustee Al. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to rise from our regular board and go for executive session. I need Ms. Avila and the CEO to excuse themselves so we can go ahead and move to executive session. Time is 2:58.
Executive
I
session,
so
does
moved
it
that
does
we
it need to be
that we
live streamed?
rise from our regular session and go into executive session.
Pause it first.
Thank you, Trustee Rosie.
Pause
Second,
the
please.
recording.
Thank you.
Pause the recording.
Okay,
Second.
may I have all those guys excused now? I feel
Recording stopped.
So
Okay. Who is Millie? Oh, that's you. Okay.
so I'm stopping the recording now.
That's my wife's computer.
Thank you. I know really.
I'm poor.
I recorded here.
Okay,
He's
guys.
trying to hide behind a different mask.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. So I'm gonna who do I give the host to so I can leave?
Trustee Lou, you want to start?
Because it's an executive.
I'm thinking to do. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if I exit, I'm the host. Who do I give it
Okay,
to? Yeah, the Zoom.
Madam Chair, I'm
Who do I give it
looking
to?
for my notes. Would you go ahead and start? Yeah. Okay, it's,
You're in
I
this.
just want to let you know that for the
You have
fourth
to go back.
time, I'm being requested by the leadership team to meet with them.
Hold on, let me